first of this season, YouTube-only episode of Bierfield Fantasy Football. I am your host at Hot BFF, as always, joined from sunny, I think, beautiful Springfield, Illinois, by Dan Thury.
I feel like using the word beautiful and describing Springfield, Illinois does not go together.
Well,
but I'm doing great. Otherwise, it's been a long work day.
Yeah. Thankfully, mine wasn't that long. Hey, thank you for tuning in, checking out the bonus episode on YouTube. Going to be a little shorter, a little different than the normal full-length podcast, which you can find on Libsyn, our Twitter, Spotify, iTunes, anywhere podcasts are found. No beer reviews for this one, just straight to the point. We're going to be reviewing preseason week 1, checking in on some position battles, and then doing a rookie draft breakdown. You can follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Untapped Bierfield FF, Facebook, YouTube, Bierfield Fantasy Football. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. We have merch. I saw red and had to make sure I wasn't wearing a shirt. I am not. I'm wearing a Blackhawk shirt.
I'm wearing my work clothes.
Midwest FF Expo goes down this weekend in Canton, Ohio. We will be in Indianapolis on Friday. We will be in Canton Saturday, Sunday, and headed back to our respective neck of the woods on Sunday. Be sure to come up, say hi, hang out, have a beer, catch the live podcast, etc., etc. It's going to be an exciting time, I hope. Should be. Bob did a heck of a job putting it together.
We're doing sleepers and bus, correct? During the live?
That's a panel.
That's a panel
that I haven't heard anything else of. Yeah, I didn't submit that as our stage topic.
Okay.
I don't think we'll have to. I'll have to figure that out and text you. On-air production meeting in the first YouTube episode. You can find more of that by listening to every episode. Wow, I used an old note set. All right, let's go ahead and get into the preseason standouts, position battle check-in from week 1. Just went through, took a couple guys that stood out on tape. Yeah, right. I looked at box scores.
I did the same thing. Box scores and play-by-play to kind of get a gauge on who started where. And who the backup
did what, who was the backup, who played, who didn't play, checking on a couple position battles. Starting in New York, TJ Jones went for 6 for 72 and a touchdown, which is one of the better wide receiver performances of the first week.
Yeah, I mean,
there's opportunity there.
There's opportunity there. I did my notes a little bit differently, so sorry for the about 2-second pause there. I didn't really make notes for the receivers as for more so because I think we kind of know who the top 2 are. But I think it is important to kind of know who's going to get the first 4 weeks.
You got Golden Tate suspended for 4 weeks. You have Corey Coleman out with a torn ACL. No Odell. There's no guarantee Golden Tate fits into this offense right away because he didn't in Philly. So, I mean, you can say you know, but you don't really know.
True.
New York.
I think it's just
you don't want to buy too much into a preseason performance, but TJ Jones played some slot for the Lions. He was an interesting fill-in. So also for dynasty owners, this is another thing to pay attention to because your preseason standouts, they may not have an impact this season. They may not necessarily make a roster or be redraft relevant, but they are guys in dynasty with deeper rosters to, why not take a flyer in one of those last couple churn spots, or if it's a rookie, stash him on your taxi squad and see what you can get.
Exactly. Even though the offense really isn't moving, and this is speaking of the Giants in terms of it's not going to be productive, won't score a lot of points, but in terms of PPR leagues, which most people play, and if you don't play it, you should play in it. It's good to find those guys who are going to be the target hogs.
Yep.
Even in these low volume offenses.
Yep. And then Reggie White Jr. was 4 for 60. He was a UDFA, obviously has a good pedigree. He's son of Reggie White, so just notable, I guess.
Yeah.
If he does that a couple more times, you're going to want to probably take a flyer and just see what you got there. The Giants are a team with a lot of wide receiver opportunity and a lot of churn.
Sure.
Moving on to the Colts, this is more for me. Chad Kelly, 13 to 19, 121, no passing touchdowns, 4 for 53, and a rushing touchdown for the Colts. And that's interesting that he's getting a shot, that he's still performing, because he was on the cusp of being able to have a real shot at doing something with the Broncos and then went out and was dumb. So he's kind of starting over. He's got to make a team. But if he lands as a backup, he's not dead yet with that performance, I don't think.
Yeah, and then with the banged up Andrew Luck, I know news came out, I think about 15 minutes ago, giving a little more light to the Andrew Luck situation. Chad Kelly could find himself at least on this roster early on,
especially if he can't outplay Brissett.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him beat out Brissett. I don't know if that'll happen. If you've been following the show since we started, we're all big fans of Chad Kelly here. On and off the field, big fans of it. I mean,
right.
He's an idiot, but he's a gullible and lovable idiot. We'll just go with that. But I hope he does land somewhere.
Yep. Looking at Colts wide receiver battles, changing gears here. So with the Colts, T.Y. Hilton. Paris Campbell is a high draft pick. He's been hurt. They went out and signed Devin Funchess. Deion Kane's caught hype, but it was Darius Fountain going for 5 for 63 and nothing in that game, where Funchess and Kane 2 for 21 and 2 for 15. Again, there's really just an up in the air with the second and third wide receivers there in Indy. There's going to be opportunity, especially the three, to get on the field in a high volume offense. And Fountain's a guy who had a good athletic profile and then fought injuries last year.
Yeah. Yeah, 7 targets, as you said, 5 for 63 in those. So that's a good sign to see. And I think he got out with the 2s, which shows that there's an opportunity for him to make the roster. Our buddy Miguel, who's a big Darius Fountain fan, Dynasty Guru for those out there, thinks that he's playing for his next, or that he's showing up for his next team. He's an underrated guy that you should, or that you could roster if you have, that extra spot, or if you have an extra, I guess, taxi squad spot, even though he's not a rookie. There's opportunity there for him. Nice profile. Just played at a really small school. I think it was an FBS school.
Yep.
So
a small school guy that has a chance to. This will be his first full healthy season if he stays healthy. So keep an eye on that. He hasn't really had a shot to show what he can do or might be capable of doing. Changing gears to the Bills in their running back battle. So sometimes who's on the field in preseason tells you as much as who's not on the field. Wait, I said that backwards. No, I didn't.
No, you're good. That
okay.
Makes sense.
Bills running back LaShawn McCoy, not on the field at all. Again, running back battles. Devin Singletary, meanwhile, 9 carries, looked just okay. Yeldon and Gore each had 2. So nobody really jumping out. I think McCoy not playing tells you that they're still comfortable with at least what they've seen in him, what they have on him. They're protecting him. Gore playing says that they're still trying to, sort out that Gore, Yeldon, Singletary thing. Singletary playing the most, I think. I don't know if that's they wanted a bit longer look at him in game action because he is a rookie. That's probably it. Not so much about his position.
Yeah, for me, I think it's McCoy and Gore are your 1 and 2. I know that Singletary's been getting hype with the 1s. If they get rid of McCoy, I know that's been a pretty popular rumor going around that they're going to cut him. Then I think Singletary becomes a little more interesting. We're not high on him as a show. He's not athletic at all for a guy his size.
Right.
But there's opportunity behind an ever-aging, zombified Frank Gore. I think the big story here, too, is that T.J. Yeldon played after him. Yeldon likely, or potentially on that cutting block. Yeah. A name that we were all high on during free agency, figured out where he's going to land. That took a long time to happen. But if Yeldon gets back onto the open market, there are some teams out there that could look his way, potentially adding some value to him if he signs somewhere that could give him a chance, say Tampa Bay.
Yep. All right, looking at the Falcons running back 2 gig, they've kind of made some comments in the offseason to say, hey, we're not sold on Ito Smith. Brian Hill stood out in the Hall of Fame game. This week, though, it was Quadri Olison, 8 for 41 and 1. Brian Hill, 8 for 23. Ito Smith, 4 for 7 and a touchdown.
They outscored.
They did all. They did all score.
They did all score.
Olison, the more efficient of them. Which, again, if this keeps up, you're just gonna have a rotation at that running back 2 spot.
Yeah. So I looked at the play-by-play in terms of who came out first. Smith got the first snacks.
That's expected.
snap, excuse me. Brian Hill was second, then Olsen did all of his work in the second half as he came in as a third back. That's another telling thing to see is when they come in and then seeing if anything changes going into their third game or week 2 of preseason to see if things move around. This is a second inefficient game for Edel Smith. Brian Hill came back down to earth, so I think there's still a battle for this RB2 spot, which does have value given Freeman's been banged up the last couple years.
It does, and we'll keep an eye on that. Speaking of places with value, the Patriots wide receiver group. I mean, it's Julian Edelman and then a bunch of question marks. Jakobi Meyers, 6 for 69 and 2. There was hype on Meyers in camp as well about him looking better than N'Keal Harry. I've talked about it on other episodes. I'll say it again. Came out as a good route runner with good hands that knew how to separate. It was higher up on my board than most others. The type of thing that normally plays, and he went out and had himself a good game, which, for an undrafted rookie, yes, you expect him to be on the field, especially in preseason week 1. The fact that he performed only is going to help his stock. He should absolutely be rostered in Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, 8 targets, 6 for 69, 2 scores. I don't know how much run he's going to get if Harry comes back healthy, or at least gets healthier sooner than later. It just depends when he can get on there.
Depends on how Harry comes along too, because the hype on Meyers was that he was outperforming him.
Yeah, but with the draft capital for this year, I mean, it's always going to be leaning Harry, first round pick. They're not just going to not lean his way. For me, for Meyers is if you believe in him, you can hold on to him. If you pick him up, and he blows up like he's done with this, not a bad trade candidate if you can get somebody trying to still buy into this Patriot passing offense, which I'm not high into because I don't think it's going to be high volume, just given, the age of Brady, than everything else around that, no Gronk or anything else. So there's not going to be a whole lot of, great passing opportunity. But with Meyers, with him showing up, there could be value with him, especially in, deep of the redraft. So,
yeah. For the Redskins, Colt McCoy did not play. Case Keenum, 4-9 68, a touchdown. Haskins, 8-14, 117, and 2 picks.
Yeah, he's still third in the depth chart. And then both guys and AP didn't play. Yeah, put down for this game.
Yep. So there you go. Nobody really cares about that.
No one gives a fuck about the Redskins.
No, other than if Haskins doesn't start. All I got to say is we told you so.
Yeah, exactly.
For this year, anyway. Redskins wide receiver Darvin Kidsey, 5 for 86 and nothing. And the only reason I'm paying any attention to Darvin Kidsey is because the Redskins have quite literally nothing proven at wide receiver. You got Trey Quinn, who we all like. Josh Doxson, who's been a massive disappointment, and a lot of nothing behind them. So pretty much anybody with 2 legs and 2 hands, maybe even 1 hand, has a chance to potentially crack some targets in this offense.
Oh, man. Just looking at his player profiler, it is interesting.
Is it?
Yeah. Great burst score. He's 6 foot 180, ran a 4.5 140. So not a good speed score, 26 percentile, low breakout age. Good dominator rating, but he played at Texas Southern, so it was actually not that great. At 38.5.
7 100ths of a second away from being Robert Foster.
Yeah.
This one's for you. Jeremy McNichols, 8 for 44, 5.5 yards of carry. By far the best back, the most efficient back the Titans ran out there.
I mean, I guess it's good to know who's going to be the backup if Henry is to miss time.
The backup to the backup? Dion Lewis is still there too.
Well, I know, but I don't know if they're going to give him the same, full bell call type of run that they tried last year that he was really.
I got to say it. I don't know what his contract situation is. McNichols and Lewis are the same type of player.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I mean, I've always loved me some Joe McNichols, as I would always say. But it's tough. I've been burned by Jeremy McNichols. I did pick him up in some leagues just because of the Derrick Henry news. But
if he keeps performing,
and
this is an roster for once.
And this is an offense that's likely going to run the football
a lot.
Probably a top 5 in rushing attempts per game. So
yep. And Dion Lewis, not the model for health either. Probably worth noting. And you've got two guys there. I mean, Alex Barnes. We love Alex Barnes. He's more of a Derrick Henry type. McNichols is more of a Dion Lewis type. They literally have backups for both backs.
I still don't understand how Alex Barnes didn't went undrafted.
I don't know.
That's shocking.
Not going undrafted, David Montgomery, 3 for 16 and a touchdown, 3 for 30 receiving. The receiving number is really the notable thing there. He was involved in that.
Yeah, he killed it. 6 touches, 46 yards, and that I think he had a rushing touchdown.
Yep.
Mike Davis got the start, but it looked like they were alternating series.
Yep, probably.
He played one series, and then Montgomery came in. His ADP is insane, I think. I'm going to look it up real quick. So if you want to say something, go ahead.
It was 5. Yeah, David Montgomery, cautiously optimistic. I saw the touchdown. I saw the long reception, and a lot of it was really blocked for him. He didn't really get to see the run people over or create thing. He was running behind a good line and behind good blocking on both of those. So I still like David Montgomery, but as Dan said, the ADP's through the roof.
He's at the 403 right now.
Oof.
Running backs around him. It makes sense. Josh Jacobs 310, Derrick Henry 401, Mark Henry 405, Chris Carson 406, Philip Lindsay.
Did you say Mark Henry?
I think I did.
You know who Mark Henry was, right?
I haven't watched wrestling God in forever.
The wrestler. Mark Henry is a running back would be terrifying.
I mean, to be fair, Derrick Henry's a big boy, and so is Mark Henry. So
yeah, Mark Henry as a running back would be terrifying. You just carry the offensive line with him.
Oh God,
may not be a bad career move.
That'd be great. Put him on the Titans. Just have him fall forward.
Mark Henry on the Titans. Sexual chocolate.
Oh God, yes. He'd have his own walk-up music.
It's sexual, baby. Jazz Ferguson, 5 for 54 and 1 in Seattle. DK Metcalf was, I think, 1 for 8. Ferguson's an interesting guy because his size was good. He was a Division I guy who got into some problems and ended up playing small school ball. So, he's got a good frame. It's just something to watch. He could be another one in Seattle that's a run deep and go get it type of guy, especially with Gary Jennings not really doing much. So, that's just another thing to watch on a team that really behind Lockett and then their high draft pick and Metcalf doesn't have a whole lot solidified.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to probably be free in most of your leagues. He's not a bad pickup with Gary Jennings, with reports of him really not doing much in training camp, didn't do much in this preseason game. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can rise up to that 4th spot and then hopefully beat out David Moore. Because there's, again, chance that can you just imagine Seattle having 2 massively big outside receivers?
Yeah, Ferguson's 6'5".
6'5", 34 and a quarter inch arm length is insane.
Yep.
The dude is a very athletic. We'll say that.
Yeah, he's got the skill set to jump.
He's got the size.
Yep. In Pittsburgh, wide receiver 2, James Washington, 4 for 84 and 1. Deontay Johnson, nowhere to be found.
Yeah. But I don't think Moncrief played.
He didn't.
So I think it's a battle for that number 3 spot. It was always a battle between Washington and Johnson. Washington showing up is good to see. If you believe in him, I know there's still a lot of hype. 2 third-round picks battling it out. So I guess we'll see. We're not high on James Washington here, though.
No. Under the Vikings, they're fighting really for running back 2, I think. Yeah, Mike Boone going 4 for 70 and a touchdown. D'Angelo Henderson 7 for 42, and Alex Madison 9 for 30. This is just everything behind Dalvin Cook that's up for grabs.
Yeah, and Mike Boone looked good. I know that
really good.
I know his breakout play was extremely well blocked, which is really hard to say as a Vikings fan because you don't ever hear things about their offensive line and being well blocked. So Madison looked pretty inefficient, got a lot of touches, and then caught
in his first ever game action.
Yeah, so I'll see. I'm waiting to see if that can get any better. I like Mike Boone. I think his skill set would be better fit as the pass catching back if anything were to happen to Dalvin Cook, but I think he has size and he could be something more. I think satellite plus.
I do, and I've always liked D'Angelo Henderson. He's just never really stuck anywhere. So this is your 3 for him.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to see him, find a team and actually get a chance.
Yep. The Saints and their wide receiver, I guess 3, if you believe in Ted Ginn. Keith Kirkwood didn't have anything in the stat line. I don't remember seeing anything about him. Traquan Smith was 2 for 16, and Lil Jordan Humphrey 2 for 42 and 1. So
I don't think anyone stood out in this game. I think it was just
either.
Super spread the football around. I don't think anyone had over 4 targets in this game.
No, they didn't. LJ obviously did Lil Jordan obviously did the most with them. Traquan's, you're really hoping if he's on the field in preseason to see some flashes after kind of I think by all accounts, relatively disappointing rookie season.
I mean, he flashed, and that's what you want to see. I mean, he was always a bit of a project coming out of USC or coming out of UCF.
Yeah.
And he flashed, and that's what you want to see from him. I mean, I think we're a bit accustomed to rookie receivers kind of showing out, and
but here, it's year 2. You're playing in preseason against second and third stringers. You should be doing a little more than flashing.
I think for me, it's just the first game. I'm not gonna be concerned about, no one got over 4 targets in this game. I'm looking at AJ Derby.
Setting expectations and what I'm looking for from him.
That's fine. I think if he doesn't show up in game 3 and somebody else does, I'll be a little more concerned. Because I would expect to see guys like Ted Ginn playing that game if he's healthy. But I'm not as concerned. I'm not super high.
You've never been as concerned with Traquan as I have been, though. And
that's true.
I've been pretty concerned with Traquan. Him and Anthony Miller were kind of right with each other for me going into last year, and I think that Anthony Miller outperformed him, and Traquan should have had, probably more of a opportunity share. You had Breeze lobbying for Keith Kirkwood over Traquan Smith at the end of last year. I need to see something for him against lower competition,
and that's fine. I mean, like again, it's just one preseason game. I know that he had his inconsistency last year, but Traquan also had, I think, 2 wide receiver 1 finishes last year. 2 massive blow up games, which is I'm fine to see him at least show something. We'll see what year 2 brings. And I love both Anthony Miller and Traquan Smith, so I'm rooting for both, honestly.
Yep. The Raiders quarterback 2 job. This is also for me. Mike Glennon, 17-25, 200 yards, 2 picks. Nathan Peterman, 9 for 12, 66, and a touchdown. No picks.
He didn't throw a pick.
No picks.
He didn't throw a pick.
Nathan Peterman on his way to taking Derek Carr's job.
I mean, John Gruden likes him, so I guess that's worth something.
The Bengals wide receiver 3 right now with John Ross hurt and AJ Green going to miss time. This becomes relevant because it's actually probably the wide receiver 2 right now. Yep. Auden Tate, Stanley Morgan Jr., both 3 for 42 were tied for best on the team.
Okay, yep. Cody Core it looks like Cody Core and Josh Malone got to start alongside Tyler Boyd. I love seeing Stanley Morgan Jr. do stuff, but it looks like he didn't get any work until the end of the third quarter. So I'm hoping that he gets his chance as game 2 and 3 come along.
Yep. Undrafted rookie, you flash. Hopefully you move up. You get more opportunity than that. Josh Malone, we kind of know where he's sat. Cody Core's always just kind of been there. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, Cody Core has literally just kind of always been there.
Yeah, it's him and Alex Erickson. They've always just kind of been there. I think Erickson's probably the 3 at this point.
I would think so.
But I think they're fighting for that spot that would fill in for AJ Green.
Yeah. And the 49ers. Deebo Samuel, Jalen Hurd, Richie James. Again, this is pretty much anything behind Pettis and Trent Taylor. If Trent Taylor misses time. Deebo Samuel, 2 for 61. Jalen Hurd, 3 for 31 and 2. Richie James, 6 for 32.
Yeah, I just put that. I don't think it still looks to be a mess after Pettis.
It is.
That's all I put down. I still think Pettis is the 1, but I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
For Taylor, if he's healthy, I think has separated himself as the 2.
It's just going to be probably between Deebo and Richie James, even though they're both profiled as slot receivers. I think majority of these receivers on this roster are profiled as they're like flanker slot role.
Yeah, Jalen Hurd has the potential to be, I guess, a better Cordero Patterson right now.
I mean, he's big. He showed up, which is huge to see.
And he's a former running back.
Yeah, 6'5", was like I think 221.
Yeah, something like that.
So,
all right, moving on. Do you want to take the lead on this draft thing?
Yeah,
on-air production meeting.
On-air production meeting. I guess we'll kind of figure out how we want to do this. Derek Hubbard, if you guys haven't noticed or may not have known, we did another rookie draft breakdown of his. I think for the league that maybe he runs. This is other league that he does. He reached out again to us, wanted us to do this again. So I kind of took over and wrote down all of our notes, hopefully for it. I don't know. We'll see how well it plays out. But we'll go team by team here. We won't go as long as before. And we'll kind of see which teams we liked, what draft picks we liked, if any trades were bad. So we'll start with Saved by LaBelle.
Hold on.
What?
Rosters, real important here. At PPR, 1 quarterback,
Yes.
2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex, 1 kicker, 1 defense, 30 roster spots.
Up to 5 IR players, just in case.
They're in year 5. So the important thing here, it's single quarterback, start 2 with a single flex and no tight end premium.
Yeah. I didn't write down kickers or defense. There was a defense drafted, and there's one very funny note here. Dallas Goedert is not on a roster.
Oh.
Yeah.
And wasn't drafted?
He wasn't drafted in a rookie draft, and he wasn't rostered unless Derek missed something. I was like, how the fuck is Dallas Goedert not rostered?
Right.
But anyway. So this draft is year 5. You expect to see some disparity in rosters, and that's definitely the case with some of these teams. But we'll start with Saved by LaBelle. They drafted Jay Sternberger in the 3rd round, Hunter Renfrow in the 4th, Will Greer in the 5th, and Davis Sills in the 5th. Do you want me to just read off their quarter, or do you want me to just read off their roster?
No, we'll just break down the draft picks, and if we go through their roster, and as we can break down the position as we go.
Okay. So I do like the Jay Sterner pick with just Ertz and Herndon behind him. I think it gives him a solid 3 there, even though he has 4 on his roster. You can drop Clay, you can probably drop Jake Butt.
Yeah. I mean, it's start 1 tight end. So as for that, I mean, I love Sternberger's upside. I think he's going to be elite. You have an elite tight end already in Ertz. You've got Chris Herndon, but he's there in the 3rd round. So, I do see the argument for that.
It's a value pick.
He went over Riley Ridley, Derek Carr, Alex Madison, and Miles Boykin, Josh Oliver, Benny Snell, Raquel Armstead, Darwin Thompson. So, yeah, given the roster or whatever, I agree with that. That was probably the player that was best available at that point. I would have the most upside.
I would have maybe looked at Alexander Madison. He only has 4 rostered running backs, and Zeke Bell, Coleman, and Duke. Good running backs have, but you need a little bit.
Or even Darwin Thompson, who's caught at least hype and has opportunity.
Exactly. So there is some opportunity missed there, maybe, and there's no need to draft David or I guess draft Will Greer in this league.
Right. Other than that, the David Sills pick, I like David Sills. It's a late round flyer. I like the athletic profile. He needs some work, but he was one of my favorite players coming out of the draft. And the Hunter Renfrow pick in the 4th. I mean, that's a guy that could have, some year 1 flashes and value. So I absolutely love that. I love that pick.
So I don't know when this draft was done. I don't know when this draft was done. He didn't tell me when, but there is some good value there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Renfrow, I was kind of on that even after he went to the Raiders. So I mean, it just all Hunter Renfrow did is validate what I already thought.
That's finally earned some respect.
Right.
We'll move on here. There was no trades for Saved by LaBelle. We'll move on to Mighty Midgets here. They again, no trades for them. They drafted Marquise Brown 109, Daryl Henderson 111, Benny Snell 310, Khalil Waring 409.
All right. Starting with Marquise Brown, looking at the wide receivers, you do kind of need something to stick really behind Adams and Beckham. I mean, it is only start 2 wide receiver. So high upside depth pick, if you will. I don't know that looking at it that there's JJ Arcega-Whiteside, I guess, a little bit lower. Might have been the only wide receiver I had rated ahead of Brown here.
Yeah.
Darrell Henderson at the 111. I get that. You got Melvin Gordon, David Johnson, and LaShawn McCoy there with a lot of just kind of bodies. So you need a rookie to kind of take over with that and kind of be able to do something there.
It's a good two starters, and that's it.
Yeah, it's a good flyer.
Bunch of just maybes.
It's a good flyer that could have flex value even this year. So I like that pick. I wouldn't have faulted Damian Harris, but I do like that pick. Same thing can be said for Benny Snell. Kahale Waring, I do think that that's a good pick as well at the 409. Did he go?
He went before Renfro. Robert Foster was drafted in this one. Ty Johnson. I don't think I would have taken Waring just because you have already 3 tight ends, but I also get why, because you just have Kyle Rudolph, Jonnu Smith, and Tyler Eifert. You
have no tight end with staying power though, so
exactly. So I understand why you do it.
Waring is one of a guy we both identified along with Josh Oliver is a guy that has a ton of upside and a ton of skill that might take some conditioning, but could be a starting tight end in this league with the ability to stick. Yep. So I completely get why you took a tight end in the 4th round. You took a guy in the 4th round that has the ability to actually be something and stick in the league, to go behind really a tight end position that is just completely unsolidified without a clear-cut starter. Rudolph's been on the downtrend. Jonnu Smith we like, but he's actually got to do it. And Tyler Eifert can't stay healthy, so I completely get that pick.
Yeah, it makes sense. Definitely a good flyer pick for Waring there. All right, moving on to You Can Do It. There was a trade here. Looks like it's 2021 or 2024 for the
2021 4th.
Yeah, 2021 4th for the 219,507, and then he traded his 5th 2021
5th for. So it looks like he came in with no draft picks and flipped some 2021 picks for basically at value for 2019 picks. So first off, good job on those trades because you literally got them both at value.
Especially the 2021 or the 2021 5th for the 2019 505 is always value.
That was a good one.
Those draft picks, Dylan Mitchell 505, Ronnie Anderson 507.
Yep. You're just taking flyers at that point, honestly. You've got, there's nobody else back there that I would have said, yes, they're going to be better than these 2 guys, or you should draft them. Especially at this position, and you don't need help at tight end. And the only other one that's there that I might have said, okay, you can argue them is Dawson Knox. But you need help. You didn't have draft picks. You did well to get Dylan Mitchell and Rodney Anderson, who are both players that had decent upside in the 5th round where you're just kind of taking shots.
Yeah. So just looking at his roster, because he's got okay wide receiver depth there. He's got no running backs, really. James White we obviously like, but he's not I guess a huge. There's some potential trades here. He's got Tyreek Hill. I don't know if this is a team that needs to move on to a rebuild with Travis Kelce and Cam Newton kind of highlighting the rest of his roster.
He's got DJ Moore and Brandon Cooks also in start 1. I would try to flip one of those guys and get yourself a running back you believe in that might be on the up and up.
Yeah,
your wide receivers have depth. You got Allen Robinson there too. So you're 4 potential top 24 receivers deep in a start 2 league, and really, I guess 2 running backs deep that aren't necessarily up there. I would try to flip one of those into a 3rd running back that has value.
Yeah, I think for me, if I had this roster, I think even just a bigger retool. Try to move Kelce, try to move Tyreek Hill, get yourself some running backs, some draft picks.
A lot of Chiefs investment here.
What's that?
A lot of Chiefs investment.
There is. I just feel like without Mahomes.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad roster.
And it's not a bad move.
No, I just think that it's that he's on that fringe where I think you may have to lean into maybe getting the top value for Kelsey. I don't know about top value for Hill. His value seems to shift a lot. So
Right.
all right, moving on to hook on a Thielen. Next team. They made one trade. Then they traded with the guy we just talked about. They traded their 19,507 for 2021 fourth.
Again, that's the one that I looked at and I said, okay, that's it. That's it value. So
Yep. I think that's a good trade for both, honestly. I don't know how much he needed this draft pick. I think just getting a higher round draft pick, even if it's for a couple of years, is fine.
Yep.
He drafted AJ Brown 107, Kyler Murray 201, Irv Smith 207, Madison 307, Trevian Williams 407.
So AJ Brown, I'm fine with. There's nobody else there that I think, yes, they're going to absolutely be better. This is a really, really deep team. You're adding AJ Brown, who's more of a development prospect. Actually, could even be good this year. Behind T.Y. Hilton, Antonio Brown, Michael Thomas, Stephon Diggs. I mean, that's 4 guys with wide receiver 1 potential right there. And Tyrell Williams isn't a slouch either. So, I mean, you just got richer there.
Yeah, I mean, Brown is one of the most pro-ready receivers. He just landed on the worst offense he could have.
And has been hurt in the preseason.
Yeah, I think for me, I would have maybe taken T.J. Hawkinson there, though.
Yeah.
He's got the wide receivers, tight ends, Mark Andrews, Greg Olsen, Gerald Everett. We like Mark Andrews. At least I love Mark Andrews. Moving on, but you need someone to hit here, and Hawkinson could be a top 5 tight end sooner than later.
And if you didn't do that, I would have done. I mean, you got Jared Goff, who's already climbing, Tom Brady, who's on the back end of his career, and Sam Darnold, who I think in 2 years is probably a top 12 quarterback. In a start 1 league, I probably would have kept the AJ Brown pick and went with Noah Fant instead of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I think that's fine too. Yeah, for sure. I think that's fine too. I'm not sure how will he try to trade up or down. I think trading down would have probably been the better value for him there, and just kind of get some more draft capital for other seasons, or I guess for this draft if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But the Kyler Murray pick was just, I guess if you view value for him, you can maybe see it there. But like you said, Goff, Brady, Arnold, it just doesn't make sense.
That's what I was going to say. Is I see the value there for Murray because the upside is huge. You projected even as a rookie to have one of the highest points per game total on stats alone, and I had to fade him majorly to make it reasonable. Mm-hmm. He could very, very well come in and completely surpass all 3 of your quarterbacks. Yeah. It's just looking at your quarterbacks in a start 1 league, I would not have considered that as much of a address now need is, tight end.
Yeah, and he still needs some help at running back.
He does. Too. I would try to flip one of those wide receiver 1s for a running back and set yourself up to compete, because you are a running back 1 away from competing for a championship.
Exactly.
And a tight end. But Mark Andrews is there. So and so is Greg Olsen. So if either of those things pan out, Olsen on a bounce back, or Andrews is what we think he can be, then you're fine there. So the only advice I have there is I would try to flip whichever out of Hilton, Brown, Thomas, and Diggs you don't believe in, and get yourself a running back 1.
Yep, I completely agree. Moving on to your 2018 champion, the Hood Rats. They drafted Gary Jennings 405, Tom Johnson 412, Darius Slayton 506, Travis Homer 508, Myles Gaskin 512, which was Mr. Irrelevant pick. He made a couple trades. 2019 505 for a 2021 5th round pick. Then he traded his 2019 312 he traded off for the 2019 506, 508, and Rob Gronkowski.
That was a 312.
Yeah, 312 for the 506, 508, and Gronk.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't really see anything here that I can necessarily argue with. I mean, I could probably dig through it and find players in the 4th and 5th round that I personally like more than the guys you picked, but at that point, it's just a dart throw.
Yeah, I mean, I like his draft picks. I like Gary Jennings at his value, even though he struggled. Ty Johnson's a name to know, and in Detroit, Darius Slayton might be the last receiver standing in New York. I don't forget where Travis Homer landed. The Myles Gaskin could see some work if that Miami backfield doesn't shake out.
This is a team that won a championship, and in the next year or two is probably going to be looking at a potential retool or needs to better position themselves in the draft, though, for Dynasty. Just looking at it. You're solidified with Wilson, Watson, and Mixon. Behind that, you got Michelle's knee problems, Royce Freeman, who we're hoping for big things from. Mike Davis, Darren Sproles, Jay Ajayi not rostered. Sproles on the fringe of the Eagles roster. Davis probably taking a third seat with the Bears. And then you look at the wide receivers behind DeAndre Hopkins. Doug Baldwin's retired. Antonio Brown shooting himself in the foot. Tyler Boyd, very, very good. There's your 1-2 punch. Emmanuel Sanders for depth. Aguilar Jones. So I don't hate that as much. There's a lot of veteran depth. Yeah, but just keep taking your...
Antonio Callaway, not Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I thought I said Callaway. Did I not?
You said Brown.
Oh.
Brown. But you're fine.
Well,
I'm looking at moving one of
Callaway who still keeps shooting himself in the foot. I guess that applies to both of them.
It does apply to both of them.
But the only thing I can look at here and say one is that you definitely need a tight end because Jordan Reed and Vernon Davis and riding on that isn't necessarily going to be a great thing. So I probably would have taken a flyer on a Kahale Waring or a Josh Oliver or a Dawson Knox there at the end of the draft. To give yourself a young guy to pair with an aging Reed and an aging Davis. I think George Reed's fine for this year, but I think future proofing that I would have probably taken that flyer over, some of the others that you did take. That's about my only critique.
I think for me is I'm looking to move either Wilson or Watson. I mean, it's good to have two QB1s, but you don't need to have two QB1s in a one QB league. Mm-hmm. So I'd be looking to trade one of them, getting a veteran, off free agency or whatever, and then drafting a guy next year and just keeping your one guy and then hoping to bolster up your tight end core here, or maybe your receivers behind Hopkins.
Well, I'm fine with the receivers behind Hopkins with Boyd, Sanders, Aguilar, Marvin Jones on a win now team. I would try to get a throw-in rookie that you like, into either a running back 2 or a tight end.
Yeah, I'm fine with Boyd. Jones and Sanders, we need to see how they're going to bounce back from injury. I think if you're going to compete again, you need to feel like you have a concrete football for sure, wide receiver 2-3 behind a Hopkins and Tyler Boyd.
Yeah,
at least for me, I would.
For me, I would firmly expect one of them, probably Emmanuel Sanders, to actually jump out and be that.
Yeah,
I'm an Emmanuel Sanders owner. I'm biased.
I know. And I just want him to come back and be amazing because it'd be great to see from an Achilles injury.
Ooh, holy trades on this next team. Have fun with that.
I'm not going to read these all out. So Dak Street Boys is the next team. He drafted Miles Sanders 104, Hawkinson 112, Singletary 209, Akeem Butler 212, Darwin Thompson 312, Kelvin Harmon 402. Pass defense 501. Made a lot of trades to get some of these draft picks, most notably Todd Gurley for Christian Kirk, the 104 in 2019, the 212 in 19, and then a 4th and 5th round pick. I guess he didn't tell me what it were. A 2020 third and a 2021 first and third. So he got a lot of unknown pieces for Gurley and Christian Kirk.
Okay.
Lot to digest here. So
yes, there is a lot to digest here. So let's start with that Gurley and Christian Kirk move. The Todd Gurley move, if you don't believe in the knee, I'm fine with that because you got that pick and drafted Miles Sanders, who I think has Jamal Charles upside. If he can stay healthy and get his crap together, then it might not be your one thing, but that's the upside you got. You got James Conner, and you also have Darius Geis there. Geis is one of my favorite. How did you forget about him? Potential bounce back candidates this year. Jordan Howard's a forgotten guy in Philly. So you kind of got if it's not Sanders, it will be Jordan Howard. So you're insulated there. And then James Conner kind of stands on his own. The Christian Kirk thing, like that a little less. Just looking at what we got there, but
a lot of flyers.
It was a lot of flyers, but
a lot of potential. We'll say that.
It's a roster with Jake Kumaro, so I automatically like it. Kiki Kuti, you and I are both high on him if he could ever stay healthy. Yep. Michael Gallup, we both like. Dante Pettis, we both like. Josh Gordon, if he's reinstated, you know about that upside. Edelman and Amari Cooper are probably looking to be your 2 starters with Corey Davis as your 3rd, and that's fine. Hunter Henry and Vance McDonald, also fine. You add TJ Hawkinson to that, you've got 3 high potential tight ends.
This could be a really good team. I do like
so too.
2021 first for basically for TJ Hawkinson. I do like that move because that pretty much pretty much insulates any sort of loss to Hunter Henry if he can't bounce back, or
Vance McDonald, who's often hurt too.
Exactly, and it's I mean, I don't know if I would have sold a bunch of draft picks for Todd Gurley. I understand why. I do. I think it's a good way to retool your offense if you're trying, or retool your team if you're trying to get younger and more proven commodities. I would have asked for a little more players with it, but that's just me.
Well, and I will say this: when I look at this team, you traded away Todd Gurley and Christian Kirk, and I still look at a team and I see a team that can compete, and I see a team that now has draft capital the next few years to continue to retool, continue to take flyers on players, and continue to try to hit on those. So, I mean, you set yourself up to compete this year still, and probably the next few years to come. This is a team that should be in championship contention for the next 3 to 5 years, I would guess.
If everything plays out well. I mean, having Dak Prescott behind Andrew Luck, pretty much insulate your QB position. He's got good depth at all 3 positions after that. So I do like his team moving forward if he can hit on some of these draft picks early on.
Yep.
Moving on to Tuesday morning cheers. Just one of my favorite teams, actually. Yeah. They drafted, no trades for them, drafted Deebo Samuel at the 108, Dwayne Haskins at the 302, Raquel Armstrong, 311.
Armstead. It should be Armstead.
Armstead. I probably wrote it right. I think he wrote it right. Either way, Robert Foster, 411, Dawson Knox, 511.
Let's see if that was that was a him thing.
Yeah. It should have been me, probably catching.
Yeah. I like this, honestly. You had Deebo Samuel in with Julio Shepard Cup. Julio and Cup should be your 1-2. Sterling Shepard's an okay 3, but you definitely needed to do something at wide receiver there. Deebo Samuel's a guy that we both like. Arcega-Whiteside probably would have been the other one that could have gone there, or Hollywood Brown. You turn around.
I like Deebo for this one because it's more of a win now draft pick.
He is
where he is right now.
Haskins, sure, it's a flyer. I think you're fine at quarterback. 302. Not going to complain about 302 on a quarterback, though. That's a good pick. It's good value. Yep, even though I'm not a Dwayne Haskins fan. Raquel Armstead's a throwaway to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically just saying if Leonard Fournette gets hurt, it just adds more value because he's got depth at running back right now.
Yeah, no guarantees the backup, but it's not Blue and Thomas Rawls don't exactly instill faith in anybody, so it's a flyer. Robert Foster at the 411. I love that because I thought you needed more wide receiver depth looking at this. And
he does.
You got somebody that blew up. You got a high upside guy that not a lot of people are sure about. And then Dawson Knox behind O.J. Howard and Jared Cook. I obviously like that pick a lot, too. I like Dawson Knox's talent if he can stay healthy. And I think Jared Cook and O.J. Howard's a really good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, I mean, this is ideally, you can make kind of, debates on which, player to take up these draft spots, but he hit on all the positions that he needed. He took, I think, the right chances on players. This is a team I do expect to. It just depends if Derek lets us see how the teams progress moving forward. This is a team I think is going to be the championship contender.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, on to Holy Chit.
Holy Chit. Drafted N'Keal Harry 103, DK Metcalf 106, Justice Hill 110, Damian Harris 206, Dexter Williams 208, Bruce Anderson 406. Made a handful of trades to kind of bolster upcoming teams. Because he must have had a lot of draft picks.
Okay, so starting off, looking at this roster, the N'Keal Harry pick, probably would have went Miles Sanders there because behind CMC, I don't see a whole lot.
Yeah, it depends what his thought process was. He's got Chris Carson, but everything else behind him, not a surefire 2019 winner.
Right.
So I do agree with the Sanders pick there.
Yeah. Especially since you went DK Metcalf at 106. I agree that wide receiver was another area you probably should have addressed, but I think with Juju, Tyler Lockett, and Calvin Ridley, you're fine for this year.
And Courtland Sutton.
And Courtland Sutton, you were probably fine for this year and didn't need to go too high picks on wide receivers, especially with Miles Sanders there with a gap at running back.
Yeah.
Damian Harris at 206, though. I like that value. I think Damian Harris is one of the most overlooked backs in this draft. So you did address the position
and Justice Hill
and Bruce Anderson. So you took a lot of running back flyers. If I had to guess, this is probably a guy that believes close to something like 0 RB, or at least that they're a dime a dozen. Just looking at that. So,
but 4 running backs after. I mean, when you look at his draft as a whole, it's okay.
Yeah,
I think if you go Sanders at 103, if you go Metcalf 106, Justice Hill, Damian Harris, you can probably.
This is the Nick Sparks special with Chris Carson, Ronald Jones, Ito Smith, Justice Hill, Damian Harris, Dexter Williams, Bruce Anderson. Here's a bunch of cheap running backs, and one of them will probably hit, and another one's probably flex worthy. And if not, I have 3 wide receivers.
There's a lot of PPR upside with Justice Hill.
Yeah,
potential PPR upside. There's always the upside with any Patriot running back.
Yeah,
his draft capital.
The other thing you could have done at 106, I believe, is Hockenson or Fant, but I believe in Austin Hooper. So
yeah, I think that's where you could do something different. Hawk at the 110 over Justice Hill, especially if you're eyeing Damon Harris at the 206. You could have maybe gotten Hockenson there instead of Justice Hill.
Yep, I agree with that because
it's still a good draft.
I like Hooper a lot. We're not the biggest believers in Trey Burton, even though he's a fine. If you have to start him, you shouldn't get a goose egg. And I've always been high in Cameron Brate, but that's on shaky ground.
Yeah, exactly. All right, moving on to Baron Down. They made a bunch of trades as well. They're the one that traded for Todd Gurley. So their draft, Paris Campbell 105, Andy Isabella 205, Deontay Johnson 210, Derek Carr 306, which seems really odd. Josh Oliver 309, Daniel Jones at the 404.
That's a lot of quarterbacks in a one
quarterback 2 quarterbacks, but the guys he has, so Big Ben, Eli Manning, Jameis Winston, and Alex Smith. You didn't need to draft 2 of them, but you needed to probably take 1.
Yeah, there's a lot of quarterbacks. That's a lot of quarterbacks for a 1 quarterback. I would have kept Jameis Winston and Big Ben, and then whoever your favorite shot in the dark is behind them, and cut the rest of them.
I would have not drafted Daniel Jones at the 404 and take Holly Waring to back up your
Doyle Hurst-Uzomah.
Yeah, Doyle Hurst-Uzomah, which there is nothing there to love. I mean, I love Jack Doyle. Don't get me wrong, but he's not a dynasty option. He's not a dynasty long-term option. You need somebody else there too.
I will say this though, he didn't go Holly Waring. He did.
I'm sorry, he did go Josh Oliver.
So I mean,
that's true.
That to us is pretty much one and the same. Right.
Yeah.
Oliver and Waring. I mean,
completely forgot about that.
Yeah, that to us is pretty much one and the same as far as a backup flyer at tight end. So totally fine with that. Adding Todd Gurley to a team that already has Kerryon Johnson and Leonard Fournette. Love that. Adding Christian Kirk to a team that needed some dart throws at wide receiver behind Jarvis Landry, or just in general.
He traded Christian Kirk. That was
traded Christian Kirk.
So he doesn't have. I mean, he had a Paris Campbell to replace Christian Kirk.
Gotcha.
And then he had Isabella and Deontay Johnson as kind of those flyers behind.
So he got Gurley and Ito Smith.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
No. Smith for
a little confused by.
He traded Ito Smith for Deontay Johnson.
Okay.
And he traded Christian Kirk and all those draft picks for Todd Gurley.
Oof.
Basically, he has himself a good running back core.
And then not a good wide receiver core.
He needs a lot of help. He's got no ones on this team.
Yeah, Landry's a 2. Crowder might be a 3. Anthony Miller might be a 3. Traquan Smith might be a 3-4. Calvin Benjamin is nothing. I mean, man, I don't know that I would have made the Christian Kirk trade.
Like you look at both of these teams, you're wondering what this guy was probably thinking. I mean, it's tough because he's in that same position where he's going to probably be a fringe playoff roster. This is a fringe playoff roster. Like quarterbacks are fine. Tight ends, he needs work. Wide receivers, he needs to hit. Like, he needs a blow up from Miller or Traquan, probably both.
You need
Running
two of
back,
those wide receivers
fine.
to be twos if you don't have a one.
But he's got 3 injury prone. He's got 3 oft injured running backs, and this is speaking to Todd Gurley's knee problems.
With Fournette and
Crowell
Kerryon.
is already on IR, and
Chris Warren's not on our team.
So, and like, granted, this is a good running back team, but they need to stay healthy. And these are 3 running backs, or at least 2 running backs for Fournette, who has not proven that.
Yeah, trade or drop some quarterbacks and try to address at least get a running back that has some value, and ultimately one of your top 3 is missing time.
I'm telling you this right now. He needs to drop Eli Manning or Alex Smith for Dallas Goedert.
Yeah,
drop both for Dallas Goedert. Do it 2 for 1. Fuck it.
Yeah,
like he needs some help. He needs some
scour the waiver wire. Yeah, I don't know that you're going to trade any of those quarterbacks looking at the other rosters, but there's no reason to hold them all. So,
no.
Not going to keep kicking the dead horse. As far as the draft, Paris Campbell, Andy Isabella, you added more depth wide receivers to hope something hits. Deontay Johnson is a person. Derek Carr makes no sense. Daniel Jones, given the roster, doesn't make a lot of sense. Josh Oliver is a good pick.
I see what he's doing. I just don't agree with
what he's doing.
I don't agree with the Todd Gurley trade. We'll just go with that. I mean, you could have added but we're not going to kick this. We already bared this down pretty much.
Yeah, it's a team that could go for full rebuild if it wanted to.
It could actually. All right, moving on to multiple scoregasms, which I think is a team name in every single league I've seen. No trades for them. Only a few draft picks. JJ Arcega-Whiteside 203, Mike Weber 303, Miles Bookman 308, Jalen Hurd 403. This is another roster I don't hate.
Yeah. Just the breakdown, the quarterbacks behind Matt Ryan. I see what you're doing there. You're trying to hit on something. That's fine. That's the difference between this roster having 4 quarterbacks and the one above it is that the 4 quarterbacks here are young dart throws you're trying to hit on, not aging, probably close to done guys. Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Matt Breida. Fine with that.
I like his running backs.
Rashad Penny, Gus Edwards. Yeah. Fine with the running backs. You're going to have enough guys to start in a start 2 league and potentially a flex. Golladay, Jeffrey, Robert Woods, Mike Wood, Chris Godwin. Okay.
Curtis Samuel, Nunwa, Kevin White, Demaryius Thomas. There's
Kittle, Ebron, Gesicki. I like this roster, and I don't think that adding Boykin, Hurd, or Whiteside, who are all upsized wide receivers, hurts at all. And Mike Weber is just if Zeke doesn't play, who knows?
I mean, we like Mike Weber.
Yeah.
He only reason he didn't get drafted higher is because of Jacob Dobbins out there in Ohio State. So I like this roster, especially if he can get some of the some of that quarterback help behind Matt Ryan. Lamar Jackson learns how to throw a football, and Jimmy G can learn to stay healthy. I think there is this could be a championship contending roster, in my opinion.
I agree. All right.
Moving on to Lucker right in her Percy.
Almost done.
Almost done. David Montgomery 102, Noah Fant 202, Mecole Hardman 204, Jason Witten 502, Emmanuel Hall 503. Made a couple late round draft picks to get some more depth later on.
David Montgomery is a good pickup looking at this roster.
Yes.
Devonta Freeman, Saquon Barkley, Peyton Barber, CJ Anderson, Lamar Miller, David Montgomery. I love those running backs. You're going to have at least 3 you can start there every week. Noah Fant addresses an obvious need. Delaney Walker is going to be fine probably for this year. Jason Witten, good plug-in. Ben Watson, good plug-in, but good recognition on the fact that those are 3 older guys who aren't going to contribute for much longer, if at all, in getting Noah Fant, who has just all the upside in the world. Mecole Hardman isn't worth anything to me. That's just a me thing, though. Emmanuel Hall, flyer.
I mean, this draft was probably made before the Tyreek Hill news.
Mm-hmm.
Like the positive news, I guess, which probably plummeted Mecole Hardman's draft stock down.
So one thing I'm looking at here that I don't like is the wide receivers.
He needs a one. He needs a true one. He's basically Robbie Anderson.
Yeah.
Marquise Lee is not a lock to make the team. Josh Reynolds 4 on his own roster. Ryan Grant, is he even on a roster? ESB, no. Cam Meredith I don't think he's on a roster right now.
If you find yourself competing and David Montgomery's what everybody thinks he's going to be, trade Devonta Freeman for a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Because Devonta Freeman, I expect to come back and be good and to up his trade value again. Trade him for a wide receiver. I don't think Lamar Miller is ever going to be a piece you can center a trade like that around. And David Montgomery being a younger centerpiece, I don't know that you'd want to necessarily trade him, but I would, if Montgomery hits, I would try to be selling off Freeman for a wide receiver, or if Barber holds that job in Tampa Bay, and somebody's desperate, maybe go out and try to get a wide receiver.
Yeah. This is an odd team because I don't know if they're going to compete even with this nice receiving or with this nice running back core because of their lack of receiver. I've been looking to even trade Rodgers if you can get something on Nick Foles or Flacco in terms of streamer quality. I know it's hard to trade quarterbacks in single QB leagues, but I mean, this is a stuff.
Yep. All right, finishing it off, we got Aaron It Out, spelled like Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron It Out, draft picks. He had the 101, no trades. Josh Jacobs, 101. Bryce Love, 211. Terry McLaurin, 301. Riley 305. Keyshawn Johnson, 401. Quadre Olson, 408. Drew Samples, 504.
Real quick, Josh Jacobs addresses immediate need. Cohen and Phillip Lindsay are probably startable pieces generally in their own right, but neither of them necessarily has what I think is going to be the bell cow thing going on. So Josh Jacobs is good. Bryce Love, flyer. If guys,
a little too soon at the 211.
Yeah, it is too soon at the 211 though. Terry McLaurin's an interesting dark horse in Washington. You're adding him to Keenan Allen, D.D. Westbrook, MVS. There's some pieces there that could hit this year. Not anything I'm necessarily confident in though. Same goes for Keyshawn Johnson, not necessarily Riley Ridley. Quadri Ellison, we talked about earlier in the show. He could be rotating as the 2 there, so you could get value. Drew Sample is like the Madden creative player that gets all the generic stats.
And high blocking stats.
Yes.
With this roster, I'm probably trading Keenan Allen as soon as he blows up because I doubt this is a playoff roster. There's too much youth and unknown. And by youth, I mean, that's even tough to say. Frank Gore, old, and then a bunch of guys we have liked before, and Cohen and John Kelly. I don't think this team is probably at least 2 years away from competing, especially if Trubisky doesn't take the next step. This is a roster. I'm trying to trade Keenan Allen and trying to get some draft picks and trying to get some youth on this team. But that's probably about it for me on this team.
Yep, I'm done.
Yeah.
All right, that's always a fun little exercise. It gives, and really, even if it's not your league reviewing, it gives some insight into strategy and roster construction and what we would do if it were us in those positions. And that's the lens we look at it through. It's not to say if you're high on a player, don't go get that player. If you're not high on a player, you should draft him anyway, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody has their different valuations and different ways that they build a team. It's literally just our 2 cents from looking at this stuff all the time, watching a ton of film, and just what we would do in those particular situations. But It's a fun exercise to get inside our heads. So that's all we got for you. Thank you for tuning into this bonus episode that actually went as long as a regular episode, which was totally unplanned. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at HotBFF, Dan at 3BFF, show at BeerfieldFF, like, subscribe on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. You got anything, Dan?
Shout out to the breweries that
yes, should have done that.
They interacted with. Shout out to JT Walker and to I cannot pronounce Einstock for shooting, for shouting us out. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, and Einstock all the way from Iceland.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
yeah, so not every week that happens. We'll sometimes get likes, but this is the first time since we started doing 2 beers in a week that we've gotten both breweries to buy in and hype us a bit and everything. So absolutely love that. Thank you to those guys. To get a chance to check their stuff out, do it. I know JT Walker's is probably more local to us, but Einstock it just pops up randomly in places. So
Yeah.
everything that was the third beer I'd had from them. Everything they do is great. So if you get the chance to check them out, absolutely go for it.
So that's all I got though.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll be back next week sometime from a hotel room.
Saturday, maybe Saturday.
Yeah.
Friday. Who the fuck knows?
Likely next Saturday from a hotel room in Canton, Ohio.
We'll
So
see you guys.
We may not be live streaming depending on the internet.
Yes.
All right. See you guys. Have a good one.
See ya.
We're out. Well, we're out when I have the drop ready. There it is.